say,
Yeah,
no,
email
I'm
us
here to
and
protect
respond
them
to an email and phone call.
Alright,
Alright.
6 o'clock,
I
we're
think
gonna
that's a
get this
typo.
meeting underway. Just before we start, I wanna point out that, side comments or sidebars need to be taken out of this room, so everyone can hear on Facebook or YouTube. Don't have any sidebar conversations going on while the meeting's going on. And I also wanna remind everybody that this is a meeting of the select board. When it's open for board member comments, they're just that, they're comments. They're not meant to take over our meeting. We have an agenda to get through, and we wanna make sure we can get through in a timely manner. So, going forward, board member comments, we'll start with Mr. Saxton.
I have no comments at this time.
None. Alright, TJ?
I got nothing either this week.
Alright, from the rec, the roller skating Friday, this Friday, tomorrow, 6:30 to 9, one session, helmets required under 18. On Saturday, this Saturday coming up, pancake breakfast with the Easter Bunny and egg hunt Saturday, from 8 to 10. I did put it out yesterday at the planning board meeting, it was from 7 to 10, but it's been corrected, it's now 8 to 10. The breakfast egg hunts will start at 10 a.m. The $5 per person for breakfast. The rec department is also taking applications for April school vacation. You can email troytownrec@gmail. For application costs, it's $40 for the week or $10 per day. And the community dinner is gonna be on April 12th from 4 to 6. That's gonna be the ham dinner for Easter, so on and so forth. And that's $5 to go. That's it from the rec. The planning board, we met yesterday. They were asking about the ADU pamphlets. Waiting on the House bill. Did you have any updates on that by any chance?
Well, under the current law, the pamphlets would be fine, but I think we should wait to see what the session brings, since there are some slight changes to it.
Okay.
So that would be, I'd hate to print out like 900 of them and then say, oops. So we can wait 2 months, we've waited this long.
Okay. And then they were asking about the building permit flow chart. Where are we standing on that? Is that done?
That's done.
Did we not send that to the planning board?
I don't know, I think Amanda was doing the last round, but maybe she emailed it.
I didn't see it, but I wasn't at the last meeting, but I had seen it.
Right, the planning board hasn't
We
made it.
didn't have it at the
small
last
ones.
meeting, no.
So, if we can
I'll check on that.
find out where that is and make sure the planning board gets an update on that. And make sure it's posted on the website as well.
I think before we post it, shouldn't we make sure everybody's good with it?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't seen it yet at all.
Oh.
We thought we were in the final stages of it.
No, it's done. It's all squared away.
So we'll give it to the planning board, and at the next meeting we'll confirm it and then make sure it's all good and moving forward. So, other than that, they went over their work program for the next, for this year. Road safety, master plan, New Hampshire bill tracking, and multifamily housings are some of the things that they're gonna be working on. Our next meeting will be getting more of a detailed update and we'll prioritize that as well. Conservation Commission, I wasn't at the last meeting. I think they just reorganized and all got sworn in for that. I think it's the same people that are on that board as well. So, moving forward, public comments. Alright, new business. Water and sewer department, solar, and Mountain View Mills.
I'm not doing this. What now?
We'll keep them separate if you want to do the solar first.
We can
I
do
move
solar.
I move that we approve the solar.
It was just kind of, I
Agreement?
mean, I don't know if you want, I don't want to interrupt if you got a plan for.
Yeah, I can go over it real quickly. You should have in your, were you able to get that in the packet
Yeah.
tonight? So you should have in there, the minutes from the meeting where we discussed this at length, and then there's the workup that I did, for the commission to kind of look over what revision had given us to make sure that their numbers are in fact accurate. That's the documentation and the information that we use to make the decision on our part.
For the solar.
Yep, for the solar, and we just wanted you guys to have it and as a reference for when because the only part of this that you guys have to make a decision on is whether or not you support it on that property, because the property is under the select board's responsibility. You won't, as far as the town property is concerned, you guys are the ones that are deciding if it's gonna go on the property.
Yeah, don't we have to just, is there,
I think there's something,
So
Mike,
they'll come forward with a building permit for you, but we're just starting it. They're gonna wait to see what happens with the interconnection permit, which I just signed last week. So, the one I originally saw was just a rough draft of it, and like a prelim through Eversource, but we submitted the formal one last week. so-
well, I can tell you, the BS factor in getting the interconnection permit
It'd
is
be the
more,
hardest part.
wait, that's the hardest part.
Right.
And it's,
who's responsible for giving us that?
Eversource.
Okay.
So they
Okay.
kinda.
well,
drag-
Eversource, and then they dump it back on you and or your contractor, and then they will jerk your contractor around 16 times. So
Okay.
they'll have-
Usually someone like Eversource, they'll be alright, but they will take their sweet time to answer any request or they
They,
wanna drag it out.
they,
long.
they came out 3 times, so the solar panels have been up,
Just for your project?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they came, once they were up and operational, they came out 3 times, 3 guys, so there were 3 coming, they're giving, yep, that's exactly what you said you were gonna do. And the next guy comes and says, yep, that's exactly what you said you were gonna do. And then the third guy comes and says, yeah, that's exactly what you said you were gonna do, but I've decided I want you to take this wire from here and put it over there.
So, real quick, I don't know if anybody watched the planning board meeting last night, but it was brought up about, if government or town entities or town departments are required to have a site plan. And I asked Carol about this, and under 670,
We're not.
well, it depends. It really depends if we want to have it or not, is what it falls onto. And 674:54, and for non-government uses of government land and municipal solid waste facilities and other municipality fully subject to land use regulations. Basically, to sum it all up, they said that if we want to, the selectmen or the planning board want to, they could go in front of the planning board for a site plan.
Who? Like any of the
For, if
departments?
it's the water and sewer department for this.
Yeah,
solar.
revision, I'm sure will cross all the T
Right.
and
Oh,
dot
yeah,
all the
yeah.
Is.
So-
It'll be
That's really
overwhelming.
Yeah, your contract will do that.
So I just wanna point out that the planning board voted unanimously, I know Mike, you weren't there yesterday, but
Yeah.
everyone else voted unanimously, that they wanna see the site plan for that.
Yeah, that'll be
So
fine.
just an FYI.
Yep, I agree with that.
And their reasoning is, why should the town departments not have to go in front of what the residents have to go
I
in
agree,
front
yep.
Everybody should be playing by the same rules, I would agree.
of? Exactly, and that's what they were saying, so I just wanna point that out. But it's 674:54, if you guys wanna read it, write it down or whatever, look it up. There is a couple of I tried calling, NHMA to find out for sure if a site plan is absolutely required. Mr. Buckley was not in the office, I left a message and he did not respond back to me then, so.
Yep.
Just so everyone's aware about that.
Well, the nice thing about this is that we have somebody in between that's handling all of that, you know, so that's the
Right,
nice thing.
that's
And
what I
they're-
was
and they're used
understanding.
to- Then they're used to having all of that documentation for,
Just like up on Bigelow Hill and George Street and all that, so
Exactly.
I was under
Yeah.
that same
Yeah.
thing, so they're gonna have all that
I'm
information.
Companies,
guessing
yeah.
you're gonna get a packet this time.
exactly,
Yeah.
companies like this
Yeah.
are bringing more than anybody else brings in, so.
Yeah, so this is kind of a FYI and what we use for documentation to, you know, decide to do this for
So-
the works of the park.
So we don't need action tonight?
No, we weren't looking for any action.
No.
And another thing I'd like to point out in that spreadsheet, you probably need your magnifying glass for it, but if you got it digitally, you can zoom in on it. But we have a $6,000 per year cost to Eversource in the months where we don't actually generate any energy as a placeholder. It seems very likely that that's actually going to be 0. So all of your numbers over to the right in the spreadsheet are probably going to increase by the $6,000. But we have that in there just in case there's some unknown reason why we may have to pay, you know, the incoming electricity from Eversource. So
Panels covered with snow for 3 months.
exactly,
Well,
and we haven't actually accumulated enough to cover us for the year. We do have to buy it from Eversource, and Eversource is going to be more expensive than what we than what we're paying, what
So-
we're getting on our side, so.
Today, gray and overcast, we generated 25% of the electricity that we used.
Yep. That's,
Yeah,
seems
sure.
fair,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it
You
seems
know,
like
that's literally day 2 of being hooked up.
Yep.
it's
So that's
literally,
if you guys are anything close to that, it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
a
a
massive
massive, yeah,
savings.
I mean, it's literally the only thing we can do to fix costs, or at least be able to budget, so
Right.
whether we buy it or not, it will allow us to actually budget for what we're gonna pay year after year, and we won't be subject to fluctuations and,
Well, that's the other thing, that, you know, wherever we are for electric rates now,
yeah.
it's never gonna be lower than this.
Right.
So if you've got a 10-year life on it, you know that at the end of the 10-year, your rate's gonna be higher.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's a good thing, it's a good thing for the water sewer department, for sure.
So does the rest of the town get the benefit off of that as well? Like if you guys produce more, or is it strictly
The water
for
sewer
water and
department
sewer use?
will own it, and it has to be sized appropriately for our use. If
So you
it
can't
was-
oversize it?
Right.
You're slightly oversized because you wanna over-generate in the summer months, and that way you can
Right.
stockpile
Offset or something?
usage for the winter months, but yeah, no, the way the PPA works is you can't, we had asked about sizing it bigger in case we took on more electricity, like if we had to do the nitrification reactor, that would require a heated tank, so that would use obviously more electricity, but, we can add on to it then, but right now it has to be sized appropriately.
Yeah, I think we're at 133% of our actual usage, so it's billed to 133% of usage, is the way it
And
is.
we actually have a great property for it.
Yeah, our exposure for the sun is right. Yeah.
Alright, any other questions about the solar part?
no, at some point, you're gonna require us to, you're gonna need us to vote and sign the agreement.
Revision Energy will contact you, and then I will come down with them, but yeah, this was kind of like a heads up that it's.
Oh, I thought we were there now, okay.
No, why I was just reviewing some of the dates, I think their expected go live date isn't until next spring.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That seems like a long time. Why?
I think they build in it, they hope to be done sooner, but kind of under promise, over deliver.
We'll get it up in another snowstorm.
Sure.
Okay, moving forward, the Mountain View Mills,
So did they get any documentation on that? No.
No, we're just giving them a heads up, the documentation is forthcoming.
So we're putting together, some paperwork, I don't know, we could have just used an address, like, this was an issue with that, sewer connection, well, the old sewer connection long before, I think the property was sold, so I think we're all aware that during heavy rain events and large storms, that would get a large influx of water through that, and before the property was sold, there was a plug installed in a structure on the mill property, that was preventing that, and that had been in there for several years, for at least a couple of years prior, and then it had been removed by the owner at some point, and we were told it was reinstalled, and I believe it was for some point, but the last, I think 2 weeks ago on Monday, 2 or 3 weeks ago on Monday, we had that big storm right as all the snow was melting, and the department took on just over 550,000 gallons that day, and a normal day is around 60,000 gallons for us, give or take. So, Justin had gone out and looked for possible I&I places, and we checked, one of the places we always check is that manhole outside of that. So there's a couple lines coming in, but there's one clearly coming from that side that services that property. And we got some video of that, and with, you know, other estimates, it was, I don't remember the exact numbers, but a majority, if not most of it, was coming off of that property. So that plug has either fallen out or been removed. I'm not here to.
I don't
argue
think
that.
it was ever, the one that was going back to when Tom was here.
Right.
And I talked to Courtney about this the day that happened. I don't think that plug was ever installed, because.
Yeah, I was there when he was putting it in.
Oh, he did put it in.
Ferris was actually in the hole pounding the plug back in.
Oh, okay.
Under the instruction of the water sewer department.
Oh, okay.
That was August of '23 when that was put back in. Of course,
That's
we've
not
had rain events like this since then, actually
It
several
hasn't
big
happened.
ones, and we haven't had anything like this. And then suddenly on that day, we had this massive amount of I&I coming in, and, so when Justin inspected, that's where it was coming from, so.
Are these plugs, is it like inflatable, it could have broken, or?
We don't know, but his side, he was pounding it in on his side when he was putting it in over there, so it's what we would call a mechanical plug on that
Yeah.
side. It had been there for years, so I don't know why it's out now, but, what we ended up doing was putting a mechanical plug in from our side, so we started with an inflatable plug, it came out a couple of times.
Yeah, that's what I
over the next
recall, was like a big balloon or
Yeah,
something.
over the next 24 hours or so, Justin had made a couple of attempts to get the inflatable to work in there, and then he ended up just putting a mechanical in on our side, so. We did it all from our side because we can't access the property without some sort of court intervention, so we did it from our side and got it,
So it's closed off now.
it's closed off, and you can see, so Justin's documenting everything. Unfortunately, one of the issues that we're gonna, hopefully we don't run into, but we're watching for is that all of this influent, this unplanned influent that's come into the system right in the middle of all of our testing from the sludge removal, and we're in our pilot program. Our pilot program is essentially done, and we're in the testing phase, and we've suddenly got this, 11 and a half days worth of flow in one day.
At 10 times the normal rate.
Exactly, so Justin actually had to turn up the effluent on the lagoons in order to allow some of the water to go out, so we're testing that and we're monitoring it to make sure that nothing, serious happened or no changes that are going to, push out any sort of deadlines on the pilot project, but all of that's being monitored. The property owner is receiving a letter identifying the event and that an investigation is underway. We'll document all of it and let him know what he's responsible for, but we just wanted the select board to know. Obviously, we're in a lawsuit with this person, so we just wanted everybody to know what was going on here, so.
Well, off the top, it doesn't seem like it was a malicious event on the part of the water and sewer department, and it doesn't seem like it was a malicious event on his side, we would assume.
Yeah, there's no idea whether,
Or the act of God,
it moved
yeah,
or fell out, right, but yeah, the problem, this is kind of, if you remember the event between Tom and
Oh, yeah.
one of the workers down there, it was due to this, right?
Yeah.
Their job is, of the superintendent is to protect the plant, and it's our job to support that, right? So, probably not the best avenue or the best attitude to have while doing it, but this was the reason why he was so, I guess, emotional or, passionate about it during that time. The big thing, like Ben was saying, is that, for testing purposes, right, if we took in 10 days worth of influent, 10 days had to go out in that same day, or roughly about that. So testing looks much different because we test every day during those days. And now that rainwater will be stuck in there for 60 days. So testing may be skewed on that end of it because now we've diluted whatever we have in there. We took, again, 10 days worth of non-waste water technically. I mean, it probably rinsed some stuff off the pipes and that, but so it looks weird. I did talk to Justin about it yesterday, and we're getting some good numbers, but again, is this because...
Is it arbitrarily good because we've got
Yeah.
pollution going on?
And the other part of that is that the temperature of the rainwater coming in, whether colder or hotter, temperature is the biggest issue we have this time of year, right? We're
Cold
finding...
water kills the yeast in your.
Right, so right now we're actually nitrifying early, so that's what it looks like. So my assumption is that the rainwater was warmer than the wastewater we were getting in. So.
Yeah, so there'll be a full report on it anyway that outlines exactly what happened and what the end result was, and hopefully it's just an event that doesn't cost us a long-term issue. And really what it's gonna do, if it is long-term, the testing phase for our pilot program really needs to transcend a winter. So if this puts us off at all, that means it puts us off till the end of next winter.
Yeah.
So when we're looking to open up capacity in fall, because we had a really good spring and all of our numbers are just right, we're meeting our actual permit, not our administrative order permit.
Right.
But they say, no, we need to wait until next year because you had this large event that was an anomaly causing variations in the data that we can't necessarily rely upon. So that's the thing that we're worried
But
about.
there's
So
nothing we can do about it.
I'm
Not
sure they
now,
have,
no.
I'm sure they have events that happen, anomalies before too.
I
After
discussed that back in, 100 years ago, they plumbed storm drains right into the sewer anyway.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, but
Right.
nice that you think.
Yeah, and our currently, when we have a heavy rain event going through manholes and things like that, all of our various I&I places that come in, we go from our average 60 to 65 to somewhere between, low 80s and mid 80s for the day. So, and this was probably like 550,000 gallons.
So it was 8 times that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was,
It's evidence that there's a major issue with that old connection besides, I think that proves it.
yeah, that was another component of this, is just, we've been talking about how we want that pipe scoped and fixed and all of that before the mill connects, and people need to understand this event is all the evidence you need to know that there's something wrong with that pipe and that system. So that needs to be repaired before it's connected to the system, so, connected to the sewer system, so.
Would that be the line that would actually connect the mill to the
That's the
system?
main line, yeah.
The one he would like
That's
to
the one that
use.
he's wanted to connect right along.
Seems like sounds like it's wide open to stormwater.
Yep,
It's right there in the river.
yep.
Oh, it's up the river, yeah.
So the river floods.
Well, we had, so
The
there's,
river overwhelms it.
yeah, and there's open, sources in the mill complex, like manholes that are wide open, that are
Yeah.
inside curved areas, and
Yeah.
if those manholes go into the sewer, then all the rainwater from the courtyard is going into that manhole, and then going into the
So
sewer,
I would do
so,
it too.
yeah, so
Or
it's.
all of the above.
Yes, exactly, so you have stuff coming in from, just wide open holes, the pipes actually weeping material, water in, and then you have this weir structure that is allowing water in from the river, so, all of those components are happening there, so.
Wonder what they did with that, but
All right, any other comments, questions about Mountain View Mills? Thank you very much.
We'll give
Can we
you
get
guys
a copy of
report.
the
We'll get a-
report?
Yep, when the report's done, we'll send it over.
All right, thank you for the update.
Mhm.
Next one is 4B, Coyote Bushcraft LLC, use of town property for events. Of course, he just walked
You
out.
must have got a call.
Message him, tell him we'll come back to it then, or?
Yeah, I'll see. if he's-
we'll just come back to it.
Yeah, we'll just come back to it when he comes back. I think he got a call, so we'll just come back to it. We'll skip over it for right now. 4C, forest roadblocks.
So I asked to put this on the agenda. We have received numerous requests about these lots. And we took the position last year, that we were gonna not deal with it till now-ish or later. So my proposal is that we hire St. Jean or some other auction company to conduct a public auction on these. I believe they should all be sold as individual lots, not as a package. And I believe that we should auction them off with some basic covenants as to what can be built on it, like single-family houses. And this covenants are greater than zoning. So, you can have zoning that said you can put a 4-family there, but if you have a